total shock. Face screaming in fear. The truth about Yaman has finally come to light, and what has been revealed has left not just his fans, but the entire entertainment world, completely speechless. For years, speculation, rumors, and half-truths have surrounded the Turkish superstar, but now a confession, raw, emotional, and impossible to ignore, has shattered the silence. It all began with an interview that was supposed to be routine. A sit-down with one of Italy's most respected journalists, where Yaman was expected to talk about his career, his projects, and his life in the spotlight. But what happened during those moments on camera was nothing like anyone could have predicted. The man who had always been admired for his strength, his charm, and his ability to keep his private life hidden suddenly let his guard down. And the words that came out of his mouth changed everything. "People think they know me," Ken began, his voice steady but with an unmistakable weight behind it. "They see the photos, the roles, the fame. But they don't know the truth. They don't know what I carry inside." His eyes lowered for a moment, and you could feel the tension in the room. For a man like Yaman to speak this way was unprecedented. The interviewer, sensing something monumental was about to be revealed, pressed further. And then, with the cameras rolling and millions of future viewers unknowingly waiting, Ken spoke the truth that had haunted him for years. The truth about love, about regret, and about the one person he has never been able to forget. The studio went silent. Even the crew behind the camera stood frozen, their eyes locked on him. This wasn't a rehearsed line from a script. It wasn't an actor playing a role. This was the real Yaman, vulnerable, honest, and painfully human. Almost instantly, the clips went viral. Social media exploded with hashtags like #KenYamanTruth, #TotalShock, and #SpeechlessMoment. Fans flooded Twitter and Instagram with comments like, "I can't believe he finally admitted it," and "This changes everything we thought we knew about him." Some celebrated the honesty, writing posts that praised him for finally speaking from the heart. Others, however, reacted with shock and even anger, wondering why he had chosen this moment, after years of silence and mystery, to reveal such a life-altering truth. But one thing was undeniable: Yaman's words were not just a statement. They were a revelation. They carried the weight of years of silence, the kind of truth that refuses to stay buried forever. And as the interview continued, the world began to realize that what Ken had just confessed was more than gossip, more than a headline. It was the beginning of a storm that would shake his career, his relationships, and his legacy in ways no one could have predicted. The impact of Yaman's confession was immediate and overwhelming. Within minutes of the interview airing, the internet became a battlefield of emotions. Fans who had followed his journey for years were divided, some heartbroken, some thrilled, and some left in pure disbelief. It was as though the curtain had been pulled back on a stage where Ken had been performing for years, and finally, the real man was revealed. One fan wrote on Instagram, "I always knew there was more to him than what we saw in magazines. This is Ken, the human, not just the actor." Another countered on Twitter, "Why now? Why open the wounds after so many years? Some things are better left unsaid." Tabloids across Europe wasted no time. Italian newspapers ran with bold headlines like "The Secret of Yaman Finally Revealed," while Turkish outlets dissected every word, every pause, every flicker of emotion on his face. Analysts debated on talk shows, was this a moment of genuine vulnerability? Or a calculated confession designed to reclaim the spotlight in a whole new way? But those who know can closely insist this was not about strategy. A close source revealed, he has carried this for a long time. It wasn't about publicity, it was about setting himself free. When he said those words, you could see the weight lifting off his shoulders. What made the moment even more shocking was the subject itself, the unspoken love story that had always lingered in the shadows. For years, fans speculated about the undeniable chemistry between Yaman and Demet Oshamir, their on-screen romance spilling into off-screen whispers. They wondered if their story was real, if it had ever ended, or if it was something more than the public would ever know. And now, in one vulnerable moment, Ken seemed to confirm what millions had always suspected, that the bond between them had never truly faded. Social media erupted with side-by-side edits of their most famous scenes, layered with captions like "True love never dies" and "We were right all along." On TikTok, emotional tributes using his exact words gained millions of views in hours, with fans pouring their hearts into videos that captured the essence of what they believed to be a once-in-a-lifetime love story. Yet while the internet celebrated or mourned, Ken himself remained quiet after the interview, offering no further explanation. He didn't post on Instagram, didn't release a statement, he simply disappeared from the spotlight. And this silence only made the world hungrier for answers. The interviewer later described the atmosphere in the room. "It was one of the rarest moments in my career. When he spoke, everyone stopped breathing. It wasn't about fame or gossip, it was about a man laying bare his soul." And so, the world was left with questions. Was this confession meant for the fans, or was it a message to someone specific? Was it about closure, or was it a plea for a second chance? One thing was clear: the truth Yaman had revealed wasn't just about his past. It was about his present, his future, and a story that was far from over. As the world replayed his words over and over, the speculation surrounding Yaman's truth reached a fever pitch. Fans demanded clarity, journalists dug for more details, and insiders whispered about what really lay behind his shocking admission. Some pointed to his body language, the trembling hands, the long pauses, the glistening eyes, as proof that this was no publicity stunt. He wasn't acting, one media analyst explained on Italian television. He was confessing. Others insisted that his timing was deliberate, that he chose this exact moment because he could no longer live with the silence. But what exactly was the truth that left everyone speechless? According to those who have followed Can's career and personal life closely, it all comes back to one name, Demet Oshamir. For years, the bond between them had been the subject of endless gossip columns. Their on-screen love story in Erkenci Kuss had been so convincing, so electrifying, that fans across the globe believed it must have been real. And while both stars had always dodged direct questions about their relationship, their chemistry spoke louder than words. Now, with Can's sudden confession, it seemed the veil had finally lifted. On social media, fans immediately tied his words to Demet. Hashtags like #CanandDemet, #LoveNeverDies, and #TruthRevealed trended worldwide. Emotional montages of their most romantic scenes resurfaced, paired with captions such as "This is the love story that never ended" and "He finally admitted it." But the internet wasn't the only place buzzing. Tabloids in Turkey reported that Demet herself had been deeply affected by Can's revelation. One source claimed she saw the interview. She was moved to tears. It brought back memories she thought she had buried. Whether or not this is true, the idea that Demet had reacted only fueled more passion among their fans. Meanwhile, Can remained completely silent. No further statements, no clarification, no follow-up interviews. This silence was deafening, and many began to wonder, was his confession not meant for the public at all, but for Demet herself? A well-known TV host in Italy commented, "Sometimes, people use the camera not to speak to the world, but to send a message to one person." And I believe that's exactly what Can did. That truth wasn't for us, it was for her. Fans, of course, went wild with theories. Some were convinced that a secret reunion was already happening behind closed doors. Others speculated that the confession was his way of seeking closure, of finally letting go of the love he had never been able to forget. But no matter what the motive, one fact could not be denied: Yaman had reignited the world's fascination with his most mysterious and passionate chapter. And while millions were still left speechless, one question now burned brighter than ever: would Demet respond? The storm that followed Yaman's confession didn't fade, it grew louder with every passing day. Talk shows in Turkey and Italy replayed the clip endlessly, dissecting every pause, every sigh, every flicker in his eyes. Social media remained ablaze, with fans writing emotional posts like "We finally know the truth" and "This changes everything" between him and Demet. For many, the truth he revealed was more than gossip, it was proof of a love story that had never truly ended. But what made this revelation so powerful wasn't just the words he spoke, it was the way he said them, raw, unguarded, and without the shield of stardom. A journalist who was present during the interview described it best: it felt like time stopped. You could hear the weight of his regret. This wasn't an actor delivering a line, this was a man speaking from the depths of his soul. And the question that echoed louder than all the others was, what would Demet Oshamir do now? Rumors spread quickly. Some insiders claimed that Demet had remained silent but emotional, touched deeply by his honesty. One reported, she has always known what they shared was unique. Hearing him admit it so openly has stirred feelings she thought were long gone. Others, however, insisted that Demet was cautious, unwilling to reopen a chapter that had once brought her both incredible joy and heartbreaking pain. Her social media presence became a magnet for clues. When she posted a simple picture of a closed book with no caption, fans interpreted it as a message that their story was a chapter now finished. But just days later, she shared a photo of the sea at sunset with the words, "Some stories never end." Within minutes, the internet erupted. Was this her answer to Can? Was this her way of acknowledging the love that had never died? Meanwhile, Can's silence only deepened the mystery. By refusing to add more fuel to the fire, he let the world do the talking for him. And talk they did. Tabloids in Italy ran headlines like, "The Confession That Shocked the World" and "Yaman's Love That Never Faded." Turkish outlets followed suit, Demet's silent tears after Can's words, and "Will there be a reunion?" Fans organized online campaigns, trending hashtags like #reunionnow and #CanDemetForever. TikTok and Instagram filled with edits of their most famous on-screen kisses, now paired with Can's heartbreaking admission, "I never should have let her go." But beyond the fan frenzy, one truth stood tall: Yaman had finally freed himself of the weight he carried. His confession was not just about rekindling a past romance, it was about being honest with himself, with Demet, and with the millions of people who had always believed in their love story. In the final moments of the interview, the journalist had asked him one last, daring question. "If Demet were here, sitting across from you now, what would you tell her?" Can paused. His lips trembled, his eyes glassy with unshed tears. And then he whispered that no matter what has happened, no matter how far apart we are, she will always be the greatest love of my life. Those words, heavy with both love and regret, broke the hearts of millions watching. The studio fell into silence. The clip went viral instantly, spreading across continents within hours. Fans wept, others cheered, but everyone agreed on one thing: the truth had finally been spoken. And so, the world waits. Will Demet respond with her own truth? Will there be a reunion that fans have dreamed of for years? Or will this confession remain a bittersweet reminder of a love that once was and never truly faded? What is certain is this: Yaman's revelation has rewritten the narrative of his life and career. He is no longer just the actor, the star, the untouchable idol. He is a man who dared to speak from his heart, no matter the cost. And whether or not Demet chooses to answer, the love story between them will forever remain etched in the memories of those who watched it unfold, on screen, off screen, and now, through the most shocking confession of all. Because sometimes, one truth is enough to leave the entire world speechless.